In other words, Rob is now aggressively emailing Facebook and Twitter demanding that Tucker Carlson and Tomi Lahren get censored. Yesterday was July 4th and a ruling came out that was mind-blowing. I'm going to show you exactly what happened in that ruling and some of the juiciest pieces of this, which are really mind-blowing and shocking. But let's get started with my tweet. Remember to follow me at RealMeetKevin on Twitter. I tweeted, a U.S. federal judge just ordered the government to stop acting like George Orwell's Ministry of Truth. Yes, this judge literally called the government the Ministry of Truth in their ruling, suggesting the government is suppressing free speech on social media, especially regarding views that the government disagrees with. In the ruling, we get a quote, "Free speech is not a political party." Of course, I question, why isn't this already illegal? But it's not. In fact, the censorship from our existing government is, quite frankly, pervasive, and some of this even more scary than some of the stuff we've seen in the Twitter files. I'd like to show you some examples. I'm going to start with some basic highlights, then I'm going to get into some summaries, so that way we don't have to go through all 155 pages together. But just to give you an example, basically, if the allegations in this ruling are true, which you're going to see some real examples here, and I think we can all say, yeah, they're pretty much true. We'll see, though. You got to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Then the judge argues the present case arguably involves the most massive attack against free speech in the history of the United States. In fact, quote, in their attempts to suppress alleged disinformation, the federal government, and particularly the defendants, which would be like the Biden administration, the FBI, and otherwise, are alleged to have blatantly ignored the First Amendment's right to free speech. This is where they argue the right to free speech is not a member of a political party or political ideology. And there's some great quotes here, such as, if men are to be precluded from offering their sentiments on a matter, which may involve the most serious and alarming consequences, that can invite the consideration of mankind, reason then is of no use to us. Freedom of speech may be taken away, and dumb and silent we may be led like sheep to the slaughter. This is a good old founding fathers quote here, basically saying, look, if people can't share their opinions, you may as well just walk to the slaughter, because only reason and free inquiry are effectual against error. Yet another great quote. So what do we have here? Well, we have basically censorship into the following 9 allegations. Hunter Biden laptop story before the presidential election, the suppressing of the lab leak theory of COVID origins, the suppressing of the speech on the efficacy of masks, the efficacy of vaccines, election integrity, vote by mail, parody account censorship, suppressing posts that are negative about the U.S. economy, especially about gas prices, and negative posts about Joe Biden. And so there are multiple examples that they go through. I don't end up highlighting all of the examples because there are just so many of them. But I want to go through some of them just so you could get a taste for it, especially regarding how Tucker Carlson ends up getting hit here. But take a look, for example, here. So you've got this guy, Rob Flaherty, a former deputy assistant to the president and director of digital strategy. And this is kind of how things would end up going. So the director shows up and sees some COVID vaccine tweets that he doesn't like, specifically from somebody like, oh, look at this, somebody running for president now, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So this guy, Rob, ends up sending an email over to Twitter, and the email read, hey, folks, wanted to flag the below tweet and wondering if we could get moving on the process of having it removed ASAP. In other words, straight up censoring somebody who has been a vaccine skeptic, Robert F. Kennedy. And many of these, conspiracy theories have ended up coming out to have quite good merit. Not all of them, obviously, but some of them. And then, of course, we get arguments like this. Cannot stress the degree to which it needs to be resolved immediately. And please remove the account immediately. Referring folks to a parody account making fun of Hunter Biden's daughter and granddaughter. A parody account needing to be removed immediately, according to the White House. Apparently, Twitter was getting so many requests and bombardments of censorship requests they ended up creating a Twitter partner support portal specifically for the White House to have a streamlined process to censor Americans. Scary. Facebook stated it will have content distribution reduced with warning labels added where the White House wanted, and Mr. Rob over here wanted vaccine skeptical content basically not promoted as much. So even though vaccine skeptical content did not violate Facebook's policy, because the White House was asking, what ended up happening? Oh, they ended up reducing the visibility. This was often called visibility filtering over in Twitter's land. Anyway, claims have been debunked by health authorities that would be removed from Facebook. And of course, these health authorities were offering their opinion and without criticism or the opportunity for other people to criticize those opinions. It really became a one-sided argument on social media. But I want to get to the Tucker Carlson part here. So, yep, here it is. Look at this. On April 14th, 2021, Rob demanded the censorship of Fox News hosts Tucker Carlson and Tomi Lahren because the top post about vaccines that day was, quote, Tucker Carlson saying vaccines don't work and Tomi Lahren stating she won't take the vaccine. Rob stated, quote, this is exactly why I want to know what reduction actually looks like. If reduction means pumping our most vaccine hesitant audience, with Tucker Carlson saying this does not work, then I'm not sure it's a reduction. In other words, Rob is now aggressively emailing Facebook and Twitter demanding that Tucker Carlson and Tomi Lahren get censored. Yikes. Facebook promised to end up having reports and monitoring on misinformation and disinformation and blah, blah, blah. I mean, this nonsense literally just, it continues. We are on page 17 of 155, and we're just getting started. I mean, Rob goes on to suggest that, Facebook responds and says, look, Tucker Carlson's content didn't violate Facebook policy, but Facebook gave the video a 50% demotion for 7 days and stated it would continue to demote the video. Tucker Carlson still gets crazy views, even with a 50% demotion. It's incredible, but it's also, horrible, because shouldn't be censorship. And, most people listen to Tucker Carlson, appreciate the different perspective. When he says that aliens are real, I think a lot of us are like, okay, Tucker, okay, all right. Some of it goes a little far, but then again, does he deserve to be censored? No, of course not. So what else do we have here? Rob also suggested regular meetings with YouTube, perhaps bi-weekly, as they have, quote, done with other platform partners. Yikes. Bi-weekly meetings with the White House Disinformation Agency to combat talk on social media. It's just nuts. Tom from the White House apparently also emailed Twitter in as recently as November 2021, requesting that Twitter watch a video of the First Lady Jill Biden that has been edited to make it sound like the First Lady were profanely heckling children while reading to them. Twitter responded within 6 minutes, agreeing to escalate it to their team for further review. My goodness. I mean, this is just like a pervasive amount of pressure, if not even coercion. Look at this. On August 11th, Rob emailed Twitter to dispute a note added by Twitter to one of Biden's tweets about gas prices. They're literally complaining about gas prices, trying to massage the actual state of the economy. And that's the kind of stuff that should make you doubt some of the reports we get from the government. Because think about it. If the government is trying to manipulate social media, which they don't control, it does kind of make you scratch your head about, well, what about what they do control? I mean, I don't like to put the tinfoil hat on. I still like to believe that the Bureau of Labor Statistics and some of these other agencies have some level of freedom and autonomy and desire to actually provide accurate data. But then again, who knows? Who knows? And if anything, over COVID, we've learned you just can't trust everything, especially the MSM. But anyway, look at this. Forgive me, my cough is finally getting a little less bad. It's been coming up on 2 weeks now of this crap. I can finally sleep through the night without waking up coughing. It's terrible. But anyway, so what do we got here? I got sick in Canada. These Canadians, man, they got some powerful stuff over there. Must be all the smoke in the air. Oh, anyway, look at this. Explicit threats are an obvious. Oh, by the way, before I read this, because it's a very juicy line, if you want to get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes, like what I have, and Apple Pay for it every month, well, it's on auto Apple Pay, check out metkevin.com/life. It's a paid promotion on the channel, as well as how I'm streaming this to you. metkevin.com/StreamYard, where you could use the power of just Google Chrome and StreamYard to put together edited videos, clips, interviews with folks, like Zoom meetings, record them, live stream them, multi-live stream them to Twitch and YouTube and other platforms all at the same time. Some great products. You can see all of these linked down below next to the links for the amazing programs on building your wealth, whether it's real estate investing, stock investing, or just making more money, especially with artificial intelligence, where I give you exactly my rules on making more money using AI, whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur. Check those out, link down below. So look at this juicy piece here. Explicit threats are an obvious form of coercion, but not all coercion needs to be explicit. The following illustrative, specific actions by defendants are examples of coercion exercised by the White House. Listen to this. This is intense. Cannot stress the degree to which this needs to be resolved immediately. Please remove this account immediately, demands the White House. How about this one? Accusing Facebook of causing political violence by failing to censor false COVID-19 claims, saying they're hiding the ball or the actual truth about how little they're censoring. I mean, this isn't even just asking about censoring. It's like aggressively demanding censorship. Quote, internally, we have been considering our options on what to do. In other words, like punishing Facebook for not censoring as much as they wanted, the White House wanted. I care mostly about what actions and changes you're making to ensure you're not making our country's vaccine hesitancy problem worse. This is exactly why I want to know what reduction actually looks like. If reduction means pumping our most vaccine hesitant audience, with Tucker Carlson saying it doesn't work, then I'm not sure it's a reduction. How is Tucker Carlson's video demoted, yet still getting 40,000 shares? Yikes. Wanting to know why Alex Berenson had not been kicked off Twitter, because Berenson was the epicenter of disinformation radiating out from, basically regarding vaccines. We want to make sure YouTube has a handle on vaccine hesitancy and is working towards making the problem better. Noted vaccine hesitancy was a concern, and it's shared by the highest, and I mean highest, levels of the White House. So, Hunter Biden, oh, no, I went there. I didn't mean it. Did I? I don't know. Anyway, there's a ton of this, and it just goes on. Not to sound like a broken record, excuse me, but how much content is being demoted, and how effective are you at mitigating reach, and how quickly? Listen to this. Rob told Facebook, are you guys effing serious? I want an answer about what happened here, and I want it today. Dude, this Rob guy sounds like a straight-up asshole. Anyway, we expect more from our technology companies. We're asking them to operate with transparency and accountability. We're asking them to monitor more carefully. So, Jen Psaki even goes on to say, we are in regular touch with these social media platforms, and those engagements typically happen through members of our senior staff, but also members of our COVID team. We're flagging problematic posts that spread disinformation. Psaki also stated one of the White House asks of social media companies was to create a robust enforcement strategy. My goodness. I mean, hey folks, wanted to flag the below tweet and I'm wondering if we could get moving on having it removed ASAP. Yikes. Yeah, anyway, this continues on and on and on. It's 155 pages of these allegations. But what's really impressive is the finishing of this, the conclusion. Listen to the quote they open with. Once the government is committed to the principle of silencing the voice of opposition, it only has one place to go, and that is down the path of increasingly repressive measures. until the government becomes a source of terror to all its citizens and creates a country where everyone lives in fear. Harry S. Truman. The plaintiffs arguing against the White House, the Biden administration, the FBI, and otherwise are likely to succeed in the merits in establishing the government has used its power to silence the opposition. In almost a dystopian scenario, in a role similar to that of George Orwell's Ministry of Truth, that the government has embarked on a, quote, far-reaching and widespread censorship campaign. Signed July 4th by the United States District Judge Terry Duty. Wow, that was intense. It does make you scratch your head about how much of that is still happening today. Hopefully not on Twitter, but then again, you do have Threads coming out. I'm curious, are you going to sign up for Facebook's Threads when it's released tomorrow? Or are you sticking with Twitter? Or better yet, are you sticking with the good old long-form content where you can actually go deep into perspective on things?
Now, I want you to know this. When it comes to AI, time is what's going to make you money. And if you can prove that value to an employer, you'll always be able to be employed. So this is another way of making sure that you don't get replaced by